Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I've got one annoying Mitchell 308 today. This one is one of the ones that was the transition reel. This one was made in Taiwan, and you can find a similar looking reel to this that was made in France. That was because they were transferred to Taiwan mid-run in production. Well, this one's got an annoying tick. Even when you take the that's with the anti-reverse on, that's with it off. And I know a lot of folks may not know what that tick is. I kind of do. So we're going to show you what it is, fix it. I'm going to put this on a little Shakespeare Ugly Stick and take it fishing. This has got a different design than the earlier 308s. It's much more in line what you would see in a modern reel as opposed to the planetary gear system. Of course, I'm talking about that without opening up the side. It may very well have the planetary gear system in it, but I think that when they went to Taiwan, they changed it over to a more traditional crosswind block kind of a thing. I'll jump right to the chase. The tick, tick, tick is being caused by this, I believe it's being caused by this trip lever, and the fact that this little point here keeps hitting on the trip ramp. We're going to find that out. That's speculation right now, but I think that's what is happening because it happens at a certain point in the rotation all the time. That's usually what that is. That's usually caused by this piece being bent, and as I'm looking, I think this piece should be riding much higher. You'll see that it's kind of pointed down this way. I believe it should be up like here. And well, we're going to take it apart, probably have to rebend it and see what's going on. Well, let's show you how to take this reel apart and how to do it justice in the service, in addition to explaining the differences on the 308 and fixing that tick, tick, tick so that I don't annoy the folks that I go fishing with when I make my casts and do my retrieves. I'm going to start by removing the side plate. That'll give you an inner look on this. And yeah, I was right. This one has the more traditional crosswind block. This almost emulates a 306 Mitchell, the big reel, as opposed to the planetary gear drive system in the others. I'm going to just pull this. There's two little pins that are holding that in place. Pull out the axle shaft. When I take my pieces and parts off, they go into a parts tray. And if you like these types of reels, type videos, how to service reels, learn a little bit about them, diagnose them, and the like, I want to recommend that you subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. It'll tell you when I'm posting. All right, before I go any further, I need to remove the rotor now. That's what's going to give me access to that trip lever. So you want to remove the tie-down nut. After you remove that nut, but before you remove the rotor, just make sure that your handle is loose. It can be holding tight, but make sure it's loose. Hold your main gear and turn this rotor counterclockwise to unthread it. Okay, this is my suspicion. Okay, so that metal tag that's hanging there is what's clicking. That's hitting against the trip lever post right here. And I can actually see the wear on that trip lever post. That means that trip lever arm inside here is a little bit bent. So we're just going to have to either replace it or identify what the issue is and rebend it. Okay, we can remove the handle now. One of the things that's telltale about the later edition of the Mitchell 308 is this plastic nut. And it's annoying because it breaks a lot. It gets cross-threaded and breaks. All right, all my pieces and parts are in the parts tray. I'm going to leave that out because that's what I actually need to work on. And to remove the rest, the main gear and the pinion gear, there's a little tie-down screw right here. And you're going to need a micro screwdriver for that. Some of these, on the earlier ones, you're going to find the tie-down screw is mounted off to the side. And there's a long screw, and some of these are shorter screws that go directly in. That's what this one is. That's the screw we're referring to. Put that in your parts tray for safekeeping so that you don't lose it. Now we can remove the pinion gear pull up on it. This has got free running bearings inside of it, so please make sure that you're aware of that. And whatever you do, don't unscrew this nut here unless you want to be putting a lot of bearings back together again after you find them all once they've bounced away. Oil the bearings, that's all you need to do here. I oil top and bottom. Set that into the parts tray for later use. And then I like to make sure that the anti-reverse is off, and we can bring the main gear out. We can clean the rest of the reel. A couple of things here. This has a washer on the back of it. Make sure that that's there. And actually, when you go to reinstall, I like to put that washer in first. If you did not back this off, that beak from the anti-reverse would be in like that. That washer that's there, the two washers that are there, will pull that beak off, and well, just like that, it'll shoot, and then you'll wonder how to reinstall. I'll show you how to reinstall since we just shot that up. This is nice and clean, that's a good thing. There is a spring mechanism here. The tag end belongs there. I don't know if you can see it. The tag end belongs there. It wraps around this stud, and it has a right angle on this piece here. It's probably better lighting that way. You can probably see that now. Take your anti-reverse dog, put it over the piece. You're going to pull that over. You can see how I'm rotating it. Once you hook the spring, bring it over. I don't have the leverage. I'm trying to show this for the camera. Losing the leverage on the darn dog itself. There we go. And that'll reset it in the off position. And before you reinstall that main gear, put those two washers in. Again, because if you were trying to put those washers in with the dog set, well, something's going to give. All right, I think we're close enough on that. We're going to put that right back in. You want to make sure that the gear itself is clean. I notice there is some residual grease on this, so I'm going to just take a moment here to pull that through with a hard brush. Check all the teeth, make sure that they're clean. This one's got a little something right here, so let's get rid of that. And over here. The rest of the teeth have clear channels in them. And then use Fisher Reel grease for the reapplication. I'm going to use Penn's Precision Reel Grease. That gets grease on the face where that crosswind block is going to ride. It gets grease in the teeth. And again, this is a simpler design than the planetary gears on the earlier Mitchells 308s. Put some grease on the back here. And then we can reinstall that in the case. Get that out of harm's way. We can also take care at this point to put the pinion gear back in. We did oil the bearings in that. Let's take the grease brush. Now I've checked it. I probably should have said check your teeth and make sure that they're not clogged with old dirty grease and the like. And we can reinstall that. Push down on your main gear. This is the slot where that screw is going to hold it from popping out right there. So put that in. Be sure that it meshes nicely. Come around to the back, go to your parts tray, and get that screw started. And a micro driver will help with this. I've seen a lot of folks, not knowing that this screw is here, try to take that nut on the top off. Manage to get that top on the nut off. Realize that the pinion gear still didn't come out. And send me a reel in a bag project with a bunch of little bearings that were floating around all over the place. So be advised that little set screw is what holds that all in place. I'm going to use a kitchen scrubby that's got some Penn rod reel cleaner on it right now. As long as I got the case here at this point, we can do that. And then if you like, you can hold your main gear and everything in place by putting the handle back on at this point. Okay, I'm going to just set that aside for a moment. As I mentioned, the issue here is with this trip lever. I'm going to remove that right now. So there is a spring holding this trip lever on. It hooks behind the lever in a little groove. I'll just bring that out. And the other side sits on the case here. There's a little, kind of a big washer. I'll take that off right now. That's what's going to enable us to remove the trip lever. Be careful, take a picture here just so, well, when it's time to reinstall, you know how these pieces go. I guess I didn't get that out all the way. Just waiting for the spring or something to shoot here. That's usually what happens. Alright, the screw is out. Now we have that little piece. Here's your spring. This is your lever. And this is what I believe is bent. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. There's a twist here going on. It's not flat. This whole piece has been twisted this way. I'm going to see if I have a replacement part for this. If I don't, I know how to rebend it. We'll shut the camera off. I'll be back with the part. Took me a little while to find, but I believe this is a new old stock part. We're going to try this one out, see if that doesn't correct the issue. All right, you have your bail. You don't need to disturb that while you're working on this. This goes in, kind of at an angular down, wraps around and comes out the other side. And it seats like that. Next up, we want to take that, I guess we'll take the spring next. It's kind of hard to, I think this one goes, let's go with this one. Often wonder when they were making these reels in the plant, how they kind of played around with these. Okay, I've got that in. Of course, I have a screw here that doesn't have a slot, but this is a magnetic screw. So put that on next. Or at least try and get it started. There you go. Check to make sure that there's swing there. There is. Now we have the spring that goes over the top. Take the glove off. I need a little more ability here. And I know you're not seeing this, and I apologize for you not seeing this. But what I essentially just did there was to pull it over the top. Again, back to the case. And this side of the spring is going to load behind the tag. To do that, bring your bail over and set this into the belt trip. That moves this piece all the way in. And then it's generally a little bit easier to take a screwdriver or something else, flip it in. That's going to create your trip lever below. And when it trips out, you can see how this one tucks in underneath. So I shouldn't have that click, click, click going anymore. So this was bent, and it was preventing it from swinging all the way over. At least that's my hypothesis. Let's find out if that works or not. All right, next up, we're going to rethread the bail, or the rotor. Threaded the rotor. There's that little washer that goes on top of the pinion gear. Then the nut goes on. Start these by hand. And then you're going to need a deep socket to finish this. That's because a wrench, triple box wrench, cannot get over the top and grab that nut. Of course, you knew that on the disassembly. That's just a reminder. Okay, that goes on. Now we can put our handle back on. Brought the axle shaft out. A little bit of grease onto the axle shaft. Not a lot, because when you go through the pinion gear, it'll just wipe it off. Bring the axle shaft in and down. I have the block on there already. Find the 2 holes for that. Line them up internally. Take the 2 studs. One top, one bottom. And now you should be able to see how it works. And one of the things to notice is it's quiet. Wow, nice. All right. Okay, all we need then is put our anti-reverse back on, bring our cover plate over, grab our screw. And while we're doing that, let's just review. So we've taken a whole reel apart. We had a bent trip lever that was causing an annoying tick, 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 tick in the reel. We identified that, and then we were able to go ahead and correct that. Just an inside look at your spool here for those of you that are curious. Remove this. We have a pressure washer here, torsion spring kind of thing. You have your washer underneath. You can push this through. That's your click mechanism. And you have a Teflon washer here. So if you're having any difficulty with your drag system, make sure that the Teflon washer is there and that the drag is up top. When you go to do this, you just simply turn it and that will reset that click. This is your washer. Just make sure this is a hard washer, so you don't need to do anything with it other than make sure it's clean. This is your pressure point on your washer. Find the square side of the spool to load that on. And then put your button back on. Okay, and we're set for a test. Looks like all systems go, and then I'll be able to put this one on a rod. Take it fishing. All right, nice set on the tail. Nice snap, clean snap. This one's ready to go fishing. I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to take a moment to thank our police, fire, safety, and rescue workers for all it is that you do. I appreciate your day in and day out commitment to the job. Well, this is a nice little reel to go on a 6-foot ugly stick. I can't wait to try it. This season is upon us. And even though it's not the old planetary gear system, it still has that look, the feel, and the durability and dependability of the Mitchell 308 line. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I wish everybody tight lines and a great day fishing.